Hi, everyone. It's Fangirl Friday Live, and my name is Anita Castellar. This week, it's the Halloween edition. Yay! I love Halloween. So as you can tell, I have my, Indiana Jones persona going here. But I also want to bring into the conversation Tara Hefter. Hi, how are you, Tara?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I see you're channeling your inner Power Ranger.
I am. I know. I need to put my glasses on. What do you think?
Oh my God, I love it. I love it. Those glasses are actually pretty stylish.
They are really awesome.
Yeah, you could wear them outside if there were UV.
For sure. For sure. They might be. I wonder. I'll have to look into that.
Oh my goodness. So tell us, Tara, who are you and what do you do?
I am Tara Hefter, and I am the general manager of Disguise, Disguise Costumes. We are a costume manufacturer in San Diego. Well, we're in Poway, which is just a little north of San Diego, California. So here today to talk about Halloween.
Yeah, I mean, it's coming up, and that's why we wanted to have this, like this version of the Fangirl Friday Live a couple weeks ahead of time, so that just in case whoever is watching, might get some tips, get some tricks, or if they haven't decided on their Halloween costume yet, we can, have them maybe go check out a Disguise Halloween costume. But I think we have a little video that you sent us, so let's cue that up, watch that, get a flavor of Disguise, and then we'll come back and have our chat.
Hit it! That's what I'm talking about. From the beginning.
Great. Oh my gosh, so many things that you guys are accomplishing.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it gives a little flavor of what we do. We do a lot of licensed costumes. As you can see, that's our bread and butter. That's our specialty.
How did you get into the costume business? I mean, you and I have known each other for a while, but tell us a little bit about who Tara is and what's your background?
Sure. Well, I consider myself a toy person. So I started in toys straight out of college, worked at a small company called Toy Quest, Manly Toy Quest. And the first license I worked on there, the first product was actually role play for Power Rangers. So dress up costumes for Power Rangers, which is why I'm wearing this costume.
So you're back to your roots.
It's amazing. Well, I've touched Power Rangers in some form in every single one of my jobs over the past 20 years. So even though I didn't grow up watching it, it is near and dear to my heart. And it's an amazing dress up brand. It's been a top costume every year for however many years. I think it's like 26 or I'm going to get it wrong, but over 25 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty amazing. So from there, I actually, I was working on Power Rangers and Disney Princess toys, and I was meeting with Disney. And so I got to know all the people up at Disney, and they said, hey, we're hiring. So they snagged me, and I went up and I actually interviewed for a job working on the boy stuff on the Power Ranger side, and didn't get it. And then ended up getting on the girls team and working on Disney Princess, which I loved. But part of my responsibility was managing Halloween. So that's when I first met Disguise. They've been the Disney partner for 30 years. And so it was really cool to get to know them. They were one of my favorite partners. So that's when I first was introduced to Halloween, but I had a strong background in dress up and role play. From there, I jumped to Jakks, but I jumped to a division out in Pennsylvania called CDI, and they were known for their dress up and role play.
Yeah.
There, I was also working on Power Rangers and Princess and a lot of other brands. And then that division moved back to LA. I came back to my house in LA and I started doing licensing for Jakks. I was heading up licensing for Jakks and also Disguise. And I don't know if people know, but Jakks is a toy company and they acquired Disguise in 2008. So I was doing licensing for both toys and costumes. So I was very close to the Disguise team that entire time. Again, doing deals on Power Rangers and other brands. And then I guess it was in 2018, the president of Disguise, Joe Antone, who had been with the company for 30 years since the beginning, he decided he wanted to retire. So he reached out to me and said, hey, I think you'd be great for this. Your background, we're heavily licensed. You've touched Halloween for many years. Role play and dress up are your background. And so last January, I moved into this role and it's been really, really fun.
Wow. Well, congratulations on all your moves and moving up in the world and, heading up all the teams now at Disguise for licensing. So great. Do you have any specific fandoms yourself?
It's funny because I was looking at that question and I was like, I don't consider myself like a fan in the sense that I view fans as like they pick one or two things and they go really deep into them, right? And my personality is like, I want to float to everything and touch everything. And licensing's really worked for me in that respect because I get to experience each of these brands. And I love seeing the fans. I love experiencing that. I love going and meeting with a licensor, going to a live event or a showcase or whatever it might be, and getting a glimpse into these little portals of fans. Like it's amazing. Yeah. So I really love that. And I consider myself like a lover of all brands. So no, I didn't grow up with one thing that I was like, this is what I love. But I found what I love. But I have been a fan of Halloween my entire life. So that works out really well. I've always enjoyed dressing up. I've always, when I was at Disney and I was running the Halloween business there, I was the one throwing the parties. I get into it. I like it. It's fun.
Well, it's part of that passion for a subject matter or a subject, like a topic or something like that, like Halloween, which probably leads you to be really good at your job about figuring out what the fans want to do, how they want to celebrate, what do they want to wear when they get in. So it's like that psychology behind, the actual like dressing up.
The people behind it. Yeah. And if you think about it, Halloween is like the day of fandom, right? Like it is the one day out of the year where you're like, what do I love and what am I going to be? Because you're going to pick one, right? Maybe two costumes that you love. And you look at like cosplayers, it's amazing. Like, I love seeing that. I love people who get into it. And so, yeah, we think about like, what is everyone into right now? What are they going to want? Sometimes we're hitting basic price points for a mass retailer. And sometimes we're doing these high-end $500 costumes for the ultra fan because there's a need for it.
Yeah. Well, I think we have some pictures of your team at cosplaying, right? At one of the cons.
Yes, I love that. I'm not actually dressed up in that photo, but yeah, this is our team at San Diego Comic-Con last year, all dressed in our Nintendo and Pokemon costumes. And so we were just roaming around doing photo ops with everyone. And we every year for San Diego Comic-Con, because we're right around the corner, we have the office have the option of going down and dressing up and helping promote Disguise. So it's fun. And then, everybody loves it because most of the people in San Diego are fans of Halloween. Most of the people that work at Disguise love it. They make their own costumes. Our party last year was phenomenal. I was just in awe of the teams and what they do and what they build. And they're sewing these elaborate outfits and the makeup. I mean, it's just awesome.
Yeah, well, you've got a bunch of cosplayers, it sounds like, right in your office. So you can like pull from that thinking, that fandom thinking and put it into the business side. It sounds like it's awesome.
Yeah. And when we get a license that they like, it makes me feel really good. Like we had gotten Harry Potter, we received the rights to that. This is the first year that we're shipping it. And I remember walking through the office and several people were like, I love Harry Potter. I'm so excited. Like, that's what I love, because that is what you need, that DNA in the costumes. You need the people that love the brand, going deep. Which characters should we be doing? There's a lot of knowledge that goes into the costumes. Of course, we work with the licensors on that because they know it best, but it does help when you actually are a fan yourself.
Yep. So, you're saying being a fan really influences selections, product types, like maybe even how it's put together, like what's the offering itself? Is it going to be a little bit more free flowing, or is it going to be a little bit more, fitted, just depending on the character and how well you want to portray that character? I mean, I think that's great. You guys have a bunch of in-house fans being able to develop what they love, but then also develop it for other people who love the same thing. I think that's great. So how do you feel about being so connected to the fans through the Halloween costume business, right? Like, I mean, sometimes it can be, we love our fans, but sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to satisfy everyone. But overall, like, how do you approach that and being respectful of the fans and the fandom, but then also, kind of running the business piece?
I feel like we work really well with that. I mean, we're known for our quality. If you take a license like Halo, Master Chief has been a top costume for us, and so it's really important. We have this really amazing helmet that we've done that people are on YouTube, the fans are on there blogging about how amazing the quality is and the price point's achievable, and so that stuff really drives us. But yeah, I feel like the fans are always really supportive of us, and there are the ones that may want like something super high end, but a lot of time they're making it on their own. I feel like we work pretty well with it. We're able to, and then there's the retailers that want kind of the more mainstream, and then there's the retailers that are going to go a little out on their own. I mean, we work with, I don't know if you know Fun.com. I love working with Fun.com, and their the URL is HalloweenCostumes.com, but they go really deep into the characters. And with the switch to e-commerce and like how e-commerce is gaining so much momentum right now, it's not hard. Like you can search out that unique Halloween costume, right? Yeah. Where in the past, like maybe you go to a store and whatever's there is your option. Like with the advent of the internet, like you can find anything. And with online costumes, like now there is a way to offer everyone like exactly what you want, even those niche characters. And so for some of the more specialty Halloween retailers, we will do those exclusives so that they have something special.
That's cool
for the fan.
I love the fact that you actually already just dropped, one of the locations of where you can go to find the costumes and such, because sometimes you never know where to go to get the right one for what your fandom or your size or what have you. So I love the fact that the internet has really made everything ubiquitous. Like you can go to the internet and find anything you need. So, okay. So you mentioned Halo, which is one of the newest, I think one of your newest licenses. Do you want to talk more about that?
Yeah, well, we just renewed it and we gained additional global rights. We started making Halo, I believe, in 2015. So really, really love working with the Microsoft team and the fans. They actually had an outpost last year, which that was the coolest thing. So it was in Anaheim, and they had a tour. It was touring all over the country at a few different locations. And we were selling our stuff and our accessories. I think our helmets sold out the first day in Florida. I mean, it was amazing. Wow. Trying to find more product. So what I really loved about that is being able to go into the experience, see the attractions, go through it before the crowd got in. And then we had a booth where we were selling stuff and we could see the fans, we could interact with them. We knew what they wanted. I mean, it was cool just to see that. And then it was also educational in terms of what's selling, what do people want, what was the feedback. So I love the live events. I'm very sad that they're on hold right now because of COVID, but I do see that as a huge opportunity in the next couple of years when things return to normal, for fan engagement, an additional channel to sell stuff, and a way to get feedback directly from the consumers themselves.
Yeah, I completely agree. I feel like the live events, the fan conventions and such are really a great way to interact with the fans. And you're right. There's so much information that can be had there. They're going to tell you for good or for bad what they think about your product. And sometimes even when they don't know who you are, that's almost the better part. Because then you get the real, 100%, perspective from the fan itself. And it's always so energizing for me, when I was working on certain brands and I would go to fan conventions for work, and they wouldn't know who I was, but they would give me all their feedback and all their love or all their whatever about the projects we were working on. And, every day we all go to the office and we say, okay, we have this thing to do. And, we have budgets to make and all this different kind of stuff. But when the fans interact with you and they tell you about a project that you worked on, and they show that love, it's just really gratifying and it kind of re-energizes you and you get back to work. You're like, all right, we got these helmets to make, or we got these costumes to make.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
Sometimes the fans' feedback influences the costume. So, you know, for instance, we saw for years, we have the Transformers license, and we saw for years that people were making homemade costumes that were super cool and engineered in a way that you could get on the ground, you could be the car, you could stand up, you're the robot.
I think we have one of those images too, like that 3-in-1. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes, the 3-in-1. So we ended up, one of our designers, actually, she ended up figuring out how to make that within foam, and so now we have it as an option. It was out last year. It did extremely well, and it's continuing to do well this year. Next year we'll have Optimus. So something like that was really, really fun for us.
Yeah, I saw there was like some YouTube videos. Yep, we got you. There were like some YouTube videos at one point that were, you know, these kids going around the neighborhoods, and they would just like fold themselves down, and it was amazing to see that.
Yes. And so I want to do more of that kind of stuff. I mean, coming from the toy world, you know, there's always a feature, there's always something toyetic about it. And so, you know, I'm pushing the team, and they really love it in terms of where can we go with this. We're working with our first inventor for a product that we're launching next year. We're really excited about. And so I want to keep doing that type of stuff. You know, we also, I think you may have a picture of it as well. We launched adaptive costumes with Disney. We partnered with Disney this year, which is basically for kids who have, it's like a wheelchair wrap, and kids with special needs. So not only are we doing the wraps next year, we're going to actually be doing the costumes with the open back for, you know, easy access for medical.
That's amazing.
And so, yeah, we're expanding it beyond just the couple styles that we had out this year. And, you know, that one we're really passionate about because it's important. We were seeing online that parents were having to make these for their kids. And it should be an option, and it will be an option, and everybody's supporting it. All the retailers are saying it's about time we're doing this, and it's great to be doing it. So yeah, I'm excited for that. More to come on that next year.
So those types of adaptive costumes are coming in 2021 then, not this year?
This year we have 3. Well, 2 are out right now. I'm not sure when the rocket ship comes in, but we have a Buzz Lightyear rocket ship too. It might be out now, or it might be coming in November. But we have an Incredimobile from Incredibles, and we have Cinderella's carriage, and they're on Shop Disney now. Target.com has them, and then moving into next year, we'll expand that. This year was a partnership with Disney, which is great. And they pushed us into the space, and I'm glad that they did. And you know, it's a global initiative for Disney, and so you can get them at the parks and be able to wear them on your wheelchairs at the parks. This isn't necessarily a Halloween thing. This is you can have them on your wheelchair the entire year if you want.
Yeah.
So
I love it. I mean, you know, it's really interesting because, you know, we call it a trend in our business. Like, oh, we should jump on this trend and work this, but it's been around for so long. There's another charity, you know, that builds out these wheelchairs for these kids that are just amazing. I don't know if you've seen them, you know, they're just awesome, the work that they do. But, you know, it's been, you know, like you said, if the fans don't find what they want, they will go and build it themselves. You know, and we can find whether it's in t-shirts or if it's in, you know, costumes. If we don't give them what they need or what they want, then, you know, we will definitely find that it will be out in the market, you know, in some way, because we're not fulfilling a need for them. I think that's really important to do that. So can you go a little bit more into like the development of it or how
yeah, I mean, it was nice being able to work with Disney on it because they have, you know, the product integrity teams that really spend a lot of time researching it. And also Target did it on their own, non-licensed last year. So, you know, the retailers and the licensors are guiding us as well, you know, because there are a lot of things that we're learning, you know, it's different in Asia versus in North America, and having to figure out how to have a product that fits every wheelchair type, you know. So we're learning a lot. And then there's also the sensory piece of it, because there's a lot of, it's not necessarily just kids that are in wheelchairs. There's this whole autism and sensory costumes, you know, making sure that the tags aren't scratching or that it's comfortable. Yeah. So these are areas that we're researching and figuring out how to offer that, because there are a lot of kids that have this, and the parents are looking for ways to be able to, you know, buy a costume, but not have it be something that they have to modify because it's uncomfortable or it doesn't meet their needs.
Right. Yeah. Are there, so I mean, I'm just interested into like, what are some of the resources that you're looking at, or are you partnering up with certain organizations to do that type of research?
Will be. This year it was very much letting Disney lead, but next year absolutely. Our head of PR, Whitney, who you had been talking to.
Hello, Whitney.
Yeah, so absolutely, we definitely want to do that. And again, it's about getting that feedback, right?
Yeah.
Getting and being able to implement that into what we're doing.
Yep, definitely.
So yeah, so that's been fun.
What other costumes
I think I'm freezing.
Yeah, you're freezing a little bit, but we'll just keep on. The internet will catch up. See? And then, but I think you also sent us over so some of the images of the adaptable costumes, and then I think you have some other ones that you shared with us. So maybe some princess ones and
yes, yeah. I mean, Disney Princess. Oh gosh, this internet unstable.
You're good.
Disney Princess, another brand I worked on a ton, is one of the top costumes every year. I mean, and Frozen is doing really well for us this year. Frozen 2 came out last year, so Frozen's our biggest costume this year. But yeah, we're excited right now. What's really working for us is gaming in particular. And with COVID, all the movies are shifting, and movies are a huge piece of the costume business. It's what drives awareness and what people want to be that year. And so with a lot of movies shifting, and we're not even sure when they're actually going to be coming out, it's been really nice to see gaming on the rise. And Disguise is the leader in gaming costumes. So we have Nintendo, within that, we have Mario, we have Zelda, we're doing Animal Crossing, we have Pokemon, we have like we had talked about Halo and Minecraft, which is exploding this year.
Yeah.
I love to talk about Minecraft because I heard about Minecraft from you when we were together long ago, and your kids are super into it, and now my kids are super into it. And it's my costume this year, my family costume. But
show us your costume. Show us your Minecraft costume.
My super female. This is what I'll be. And my older son's going to be our Enderman inflatable, which is super cool. I wish I had a picture of that. And my little one decided he wanted to be a zombie, and my husband's going to be Steve. So we're all, and of course they love the accessory swords. They're like super into the swords.
The foam swords and stuff. I mean, I think it's awesome. Yeah. Oh, we've had a few foam swords in our history in this house.
Yeah. So they're really excited for that. And yeah, I mean, in terms of some other gaming licenses, we're launching Apex Legends now. It just came out this year. Jakks is the master toy on that, so it's fun to partner with them on that. We have
tell us about those costumes. Sorry, let's just tell us about those costumes. Like, how did you decide which characters, or regardless of property, but if you want to talk about the Apex, because they're so new, like how did you decide? Yeah.
And a lot of it's discussing it with the licensor, right, and getting feedback in terms of which of the characters that on the top characters. So we have, those are probably the top 3 that we're launching this year, and then we have additional characters coming. So it was working with them, because we started this over a year ago. So it was early data, and then they had new characters coming in. So we started with the original, and then we'll salt and pepper more in as we go. So yeah, it's working with them. And then again, they were very, sometimes they have things that they're specific, like we want it to be for 7+ only. You'd be surprised, actually, we sell a ton of Master Chief in a size 4 to 6. So we need to make sure that we're abiding by what they want. So, they said, we want it to be 7+, and we want you to focus on this, and we need quality. So we want to keep the price points elevated, so that we want to make sure that that it's a not a premium brand, but sometimes you don't want to necessarily have a $10 costume out there when you're just launching your brand. So we work really closely with them on that, and they're doing some really awesome stuff for us. So they actually are like plugging it within the game. They're sending links where you can buy it. We're seeing a huge increase in sales just from them pushing it on their like socially. So that's a fun thing to do with them. Not many games can do that. So that's been really really great for us.
Was that logistically difficult? Sorry, I was just going to say, was it logistically difficult to like integrate the costume into the game?
Well, it's more of, I think it's like an alert that comes up that you can click to link away.
Okay, so like a notification.
And yeah, I'm not, and don't get me, quote me on the specifics of everything, because I actually I'm not in there playing it to see it, but I've been getting updates from the team and as to how we're pushing it and linking it. And I've heard that the clicks to go
That's
and purchase,
great.
we've seen an increase because of that, which is always fun. So no, it wasn't. It was very seamless. It was very easy. They offered it up, the licensor, working with Retail Monster, but then so they've been helping us with that. It's been pretty easy, pretty
That's
great.
great. That's great. So, you know, must have been a bummer a little bit, right? That the Halo game got pushed out till next year.
Yeah, a little bit, but you know what? It's okay because this year, look, Halloween is a little bit, flat to down this year, probably down for most companies because of COVID. Because everyone's wondering how are we going to celebrate this year. So for it to push to next year, I'm okay with that. A lot of these movies that are pushing to next year, it's fine. This year is what it is. We're seeing some pops in certain brands, and we're seeing a lot of online sales. And I think next year it's going to return a little bit more to, normal levels that it was last year.
Yeah. So I think you said you're doing Animal Crossing. That's a huge one.
Yes. That one is, I'm sure you saw the articles about it. And it's fun. We've been working with Nintendo since 2012.
Yeah.
I love working with them, and we have the master toy at Jakks as well. So it's always fun to be able to cross promote, and we'll be on panels together with the team doing the action figures. We'll do some promotional videos together and stuff for retailers. It's been good. It's been fun.
Oh my gosh. Well, we have a few young adults in this household who have been playing Animal Crossing. It's just crossing the segment, between like just kids, adults, everybody is getting involved. And it's just crazy how it took everybody by storm.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, it will be coming out next year. So we do.
Oh, okay, great.
Yes.
But, you see people dressing up year round though, right? I feel like Halloween is not even just Halloween anymore. It's one moment in time, but costuming and dressing up has become year round.
Yes, absolutely. So we generally, when we look to launch around a Halloween time usually, and then it can live all year after that. So I think it was probably April when Animal Crossing was like spiking significantly, and we said, all right, let's get this in for 21. So that's been fun. Yeah, definitely.
Were you the fit model for some of those?
2 children later, I am not the fit model.
Because some of those characters are really funny, like the bunnies, and actually there were some that people say that are scary. I don't know.
Well, we're doing friendly versions of the characters, so yeah, we do a lot of our business is licensed child, and we do have a strong business at mass, so we're pretty PG, but I'm excited in terms of things that are to come in 21. We have a lot of announcements. I can't wait. We have a lot of licenses, and some of them are things I know I can't wait. Some of them are things that I'm like, I just binged that, I love that, and we're getting a little bit more into some live action stuff that we do. A lot of times we're very character friendly costumes. And so now looking at things that like, oh, that's rad. I just, I'm like, I'm a fan of that. So it'll be fun.
You even have a new Billie Eilish one out now, right?
Yeah, that was fun. That was a good one. She has such an iconic look. Now, generally musicians are kind of a challenge with, they're not necessarily the big sellers. People can make their costumes. She has such an iconic look with the green hair and everything. And so yeah, we worked with Bravado on that, and we have a couple different costumes that are out right now. You can get them on Amazon. You can get them on fun.com. You can get, I think Walmart has it in store as well, one of the versions of it. So yeah, we're excited about that. I did not get to meet her or anything. But,
I was going to say, how involved was she in the development?
She looked at everything. They literally fed everything to her for approval, and she, she gave her input on it, and that's great. She's her own brand. She's the one that built it herself. So they wanted to make sure that it was authentic to her. So
that's really great. So is it really big and baggy?
One of them is, they're both baggy. So one of them is her green look, and it has a black print on it. It actually comes with a mask, and this was before COVID because she had one mask. And then the green and black wig. And then we have one that is the yellow. It's from her bad guy video. It's like a yellow jumpsuit. Yeah. And we have the blue wig. So
that's awesome.
A couple different.
Well, instead of me going to the hairdresser, I might just buy one of her wigs and put it on, because I haven't dyed my hair in a while. So yeah, we might just need one of those wigs to put those on.
I know. I actually put on shoes today. I was like, this is very weird to not be wearing shoes, even though I don't wear shoes anymore, but.
So true. So true. Yeah, definitely. So, okay. So Billie Eilish, any other celebrities that you are thinking about or have incorporated?
We had looked at some. The only hardship with working with the talent is when you do, the approvals take a really long time. So we were a little bit challenged on that with Billie. So we were looking at a couple, and then we decided, you know what, let's go this way. And we're going more towards gaming, TV, and movies right now. But yeah, it's fun.
Is Halloween just a US business? I mean, some people say yes, some people say no.
No, there are certain countries that celebrate it, but not everyone does. So it is largely North America. The UK has really gotten into it a lot. But then there's all sorts of other holidays that you need to, focus on. So there's Carnival, there's big parties and celebrations that go on in different parts of the world with that. There's something called World Book Day. And that happens at different times in different countries. It's happening in Europe and Australia.
Wow.
And so then you want to make sure it's basically kids dress up as their favorite, like, publishing characters, their book characters, but it goes beyond that. It's movie characters, it's everything. So disguise, we've been really focusing on trying to grow our global footprint. And so we're learning about this. So I spent a lot of time in Europe last year, country hopping, checking out some stuff, hearing about it.
Oh, that's so difficult.
So no, and
it's such a hardship.
It's difficult when you're going to 5 countries in 6 days. It's not very fun. But you do need to be there, and you need to see it, and you need to hear about it. And so, yeah, we're excited about that. We've expanded. So many of our licenses now are global, which is super exciting for us. And then it isn't this big reliance on, 4 weeks out of the year, because Halloween is a relatively late holiday. We have our product out for 8 weeks. The last week drives a ton of volume, and people are last minute in the stores. We'll see how it is this year with social distancing. But, to be able to ship in, Q1, Q2, like evenly throughout the year for a global business is something that's also ideal for us. So yeah.
What were some of the biggest takeaways from the international piece?
I think a lot of it's the terminology, even, it's called fancy dress, and they have certain, they want it to be well finished. So here we have edges that might not be like an apparel edge. And so then out there, you might need to finish it for certain retailers. Just hearing about Carnival, like figuring out which countries want really deluxe costumes and which really it's a price point sensitive thing, and you want to just get a very basic children's costume to them. So just seeing all that was interesting. And then walking into, the brochures in the UK, and they have a whole Halloween setup, and you're like, this is awesome. There's candy and there's zombie costumes and, and seeing all that. And, you don't really get it until you're there. And then what you need to develop against. So I need to go to Australia. That's my next trip when I can travel. They probably won't let us Americans in for another couple years.
Like, you can do the Zoom call. We'll take you all around with, like, they'll stream to you. Yeah, no. So I love that. That's really fun. So you think Halloween is catching on, besides the dress up and the specific carnival and culturally relevant dress up, but the Halloween idea specifically, do you think it's catching on in other countries?
Yeah, I mean, it's grown significantly in the UK. There's certain, in Australia, a little bit down in Latin America. I mean, yeah, it is catching on. Certainly not ingrained in the culture in the way that it is here. So I am trying to say, we're not just the Halloween division of Jakks, we're the costume division, we can go anywhere. But yeah, it's cool to see that it catches on. But, it's such a important holiday here. And I guess we could talk a little bit about COVID too, and what it means this year, because everybody was really freaked out, in March, and retailers didn't really know what to do and how people would celebrate. It's a holiday where you go to a stranger's house and you take stuff they've touched, so what do you do? And it's outdoors, at least. And so everyone got a little hesitant and started cutting orders earlier this year. So, it was concerning. But I think it's really rebounded, because I think back in March, everyone was looking at it versus Easter, and Easter was down, but people just wanted toilet paper. We are now in a case.
And Clorox wipes.
I need Clorox wipes, I need toilet paper, and I need to go stock up on food in case we can't leave our houses. And now we're like living it, right? We have ways to keep living our lives and adjust to it. And that's exactly what people are going to do at Halloween. Nobody's going to cancel Halloween for their kids. You know, I live in LA. And so they at one point said, you know, trick-or-treating's canceled. The next day said it wasn't. It's one of those things where they're discouraging it because they don't want people to go out in groups, but there are safe ways to do it. And so I actually, we have a Halloween and Costume Association, the HCA. I sit on the board with the heads of every other Halloween company. And so we came up with a plan, and the HCA rolled out Halloween2020.org. So if you go to just Halloween2020.org, you can go on there and there's a color-coded map, so you can find where you are in the country and what the risk level is, because it's different, right? Some places it's not a problem and you can go trick or treat. I happen to be in an area where they're discouraging it. So you go and then you can see, okay, I'm medium risk. These are some options for me. And so it's anything from, you know, doing virtual parties, having, you know, movie nights and really celebrating Halloween movies with your family. I'm going to do a scavenger hunt through my house with my kids. I'm going to go out why not? Like, right. Make it really fun. I'm actually going to go out though. I want to see it. You know, we'll put our masks on, and I feel like in my neighborhood in particular, there's always a honor system candy bowl outside. I have a feeling that a lot of people are just going to be doing that. The HCA had also given suggestions of putting a table, a simple card table, 8 feet in front of your door, and putting the candy already laid out. There's a piece of paper you can print, a little like certificate that says our house is COVID safe. So that people know when they're trick-or-treating, like, okay, this is a safe way to do it. And then you don't have kids all grabbing in the same table. It's there. And if you want to watch, you can still watch from afar.
Right. You can watch from afar and put on your costume, wear a mask. Exactly. So one of the tips, I think I find that interesting as far as like, you know, viewers or even myself, because I was thinking myself, like, what am I going to do? I always buy all this candy. You know, I get reamed out for buying all the candy, but I always buy all this candy, and I love Halloween, and I, you know, give out all the candy and such, you know, with the kids, because I love seeing their costumes. And I am one of those people that make them work, by the way. Like, you must say the trick or treat, right? You know, you must say, you got to work it. And, you know, and I must hear a thank you as well. You know, because like, it's, you know, politeness. This is no big deal. But anyway, I do make the kids say, you know, trick or treat, and don't just shove your bag in front of my face. But as far as like, you know, leaving out the candy or setting it up on the card table, I love that idea. Is it like in prepackaged format, or what were some of the suggestions that you guys came up with?
Yeah, that's a suggestion, to put it in like a little bag, or to at least just have it laid out and pick one so that it's not a rummaging. You can see it, and then you just grab what you need, and you're not touching anything else's. But
so not put it in a bowl.
For me, I'm like, right, versus that whole piece, or you touching it and giving it to them. Look, there's all sorts of stuff online. I don't know if you've seen all the people with the chutes, they getting PVC pipes, and they're having them run down their stair railing, and, you know, candy shooters, and, you know, people are sending me all sorts of memes with like, you know, slingshots and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, however you want to get creative and
you don't want to take an eye out.
Definitely don't be shooting candy at the kids, but yeah, people are getting, you know, they're getting creative with ways to circumvent this. There's also car parades, so they're doing things like that where you can still see because you want to show off your costume. Trunk or treats are pretty big. I don't know if you've ever been to a trunk or treat. I've been to them for many years with my kids, and it's basically you decorate the back of your car, and then you just line the cars up, and the kids can go car to car. So then you keep it to a smaller group of people that you know, versus going to people that you may not know at your house. And we're actually going to be doing, I'm super excited, doing some kits that are going to come out next year for trunk or treat, where you can actually just buy an already done kit and decorate your car
that's
in
great.
the licensed theme. Because as a working mom, I've gone to a trunk or treat every single year for my, you know, both my kids. I don't have time to go to Michael's or wherever and buy this and that and balloons. But we can, you know, this way it's a whole kit and one purchase. And if you want to get creative and customize it with additional stuff, you can do it.
That's great.
So.
No, I love that, because I always was wondering, like, how do these people figure out how to wire up all the lights and the sounds and all this other extra stuff, but at least you could have a kit, which is great, because I would have probably bought one of those kits as well, and I might do that in the future, and just kind of put that together. I think it's interesting though to keep in mind, right? Like, is some of the small kits for small cars, or big kits for big cars, or SUVs, or I don't know.
All of them. So the way we designed it, it's panels so that you can decorate an SUV or a minivan or sedan, whatever you have. So yeah, that one we're really excited about, and licensors are really excited as well.
That's pretty fun.
With the costume, then you have the whole look.
So do a lot of your costumes right now, specifically just thinking about COVID, were you able to implement anything that has like a safety feature, such as a mask? Or, I mean, some of them come with masks, some of them come with helmets, that's a built-in COVID feature.
Yes, you're right. No, we did not. We didn't chase that. We thought about it, and there were a lot of people doing masks. And we were like, we're cut and sew, we could add it on. And a lot of people, especially in the licensing world, a lot of companies went after it at the same time. We chose not to. We looked at it again. We revisited it. There are certain restrictions with licensing where it'd be like, okay, you could do it, but you'd have to sell it only to the Halloween buyer. And, the buyers are like, need to have masks in my section, and then there's masks here and there, and the store has a ton. So I also feel like I have so many masks now that it's
an accessory.
By next Halloween, which is what the timing would be, I feel like we it's well covered.
Hopefully it will be a thing of the past.
Hopefully. And if it's still there, there's plenty of options for that. But no, we didn't adjust that. I hope that it's not, I hope that it's not a thing next year. Inflatables, that's what I was going to say. I had seen a couple things on the news about how inflatables were seeing a spike, and this was like earlier in the year because people felt like they could go visit someone in these inflatable costumes, head covered,
go in a bubble,
which is funny. They are not COVID safe. It's not. We're not recommending it as this is a protection from getting coronavirus. But we are seeing that inflatables are doing well, and it's a nice way. I look at it as like it's a really nice bridge for older kids in particular. I mean, the younger kids like them too, but it's if you're sort of aging out of costumes, it's funny. They're quirky. We're doing a lot of them, so we have a lot to come next year. Really fun ones, some awesome ones in Minecraft that I'm excited about for my kids. But so I think that to grow, and I think people just like the idea of that. Actually, one of my friends, she took one of our Buzz Lightyear inflatables and she wore it through an airport, and she took pictures of herself in the airport. She was like, I'm in my bubble and no one's touching me.
That's amazing. See, that's how I have to fly. So I've been wondering, like, how am I going to travel ever, next time around that I have to go somewhere? I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wear an inflatable.
Do an airman.
I'm wearing a Steve, so at least I look like a human, That's amazing. I love that idea. I love it. I love it.
Send it to
you. One of the other trends we've been talking about, like interspersing them without calling them trends per se, the accessibility and, with COVID and all these different things adapting, to lifestyle. But also one of the big things that has been coming up a lot within the licensing and toy community as well is, sustainability. So, how I reuse and use my costumes quite often. So I never really throw anything out. But how are you managing that? Or like, are you including that in Halloween business at all?
That's a great question. And actually it's a personal thing that I really want to focus on. We are trying to get there. We aren't doing anything with it currently, but we do have plans for that. And one of the partners that we work with is Lego, and they're phenomenal. They're like, best in class at what they do. I'm sure you worked with them.
Yeah, they're amazing.
And they have a whole initiative to get rid of all their plastic bags. And so they've challenged all their licensing partners to do the same and come up with ways to deliver sustainability. I think it's by 2023. So we are researching on the packaging side, how to do, because a lot of the costumes, if whoever's not familiar, they come in these plastic bags with this car that I had showed here, inside a plastic bag. And so trying to figure out how to either use sustainable plastics, recycled plastics, biodegradable plastics, things like that. But then there's the level of like, how do you use sustainable fabrics or treatments when you're adding like the glitter or whatever it might be that are sustainable.
Right.
That we're actively looking at now. I know in particular, it's coming a lot from Europe. It's a big request from the UK.
Yeah.
I haven't heard as much about it from retailers wanting to do it in the US outside of like packaging. But I think it's just going to accelerate, and it's going to be a really big priority in the next few years. So we, absolutely are looking at how to bring that to market soon.
Yeah, well, a lot of it has to do with probably driving from fashion, right? Where there's been such a focus put on how much water is being used or how wasteful the fashion industry can be. I know that they're also working on it themselves, but are you taking cues from those guys?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, our design and our QA team and everyone, they're all looking at that stuff and buying samples, and we're figuring out how to best implement it and also be price sensitive, because you could make the most beautiful sustainable product, but you don't want to pay $100 for it necessarily. I don't know if consumers will pay more for sustainability, so we're trying to make it affordable. And things that you may not see, you may not know, but like maybe there's less fumes coming from the processes and whatnot.
Carbon emissions and such like that. Yeah. I mean, I've heard a lot about, bamboo fibers and, plant-based inks and, various things like that. That would be amazing to see that in costumes.
Yes, definitely a priority. We're going to be figuring out soon.
Oh my goodness, so many priorities. One of the other things that I kind of wanted to talk about, just going back a little bit to what you were saying before about cosplayers and, and also trends and such. Do you see a lot of Halloween costumes, or yourself, or your company kind of starting to talk about, how to address the needs of the cosplayer, the community? Like, these people, they spend years sometimes on a costume, really screen authentic, amazing quality. I know at least of one person who's watching that is a costumer and and has spent some time on armor building. What do you see? Are you trying to look at implementing some of those, or using anybody like a consultant, for instance, in building out like that level of costume?
We haven't done that yet. I mean, I think we're relying on our team, that our design team down in San Diego, who are cosplayers, who probably, do a lot of research. My internet's unstable again. I'm sorry. Who do a lot of research and have those connections to get that feedback. And I think they'll probably use elements of our costume. I think there is a desire to make your costume when you're cosplaying, to have it be something that's custom and not like anyone else's. Yeah. But yeah, absolutely. I think we're always reading fan boards. We're always listening to feedback. And then we have the people that are the fans themselves designing the product.
Right. So that would be amazing to see, like, how your $500 costume converts into like, what is the most cosplayable costume ever. That would be pretty cool to see.
Yeah. It would probably be our Master Chief, like $500 costume. It's pretty spectacular.
Is that the most authentic one? You have like screen accurate kind of costume you have?
Yeah, that one. I know we do have a Transformers one that's really nice like that as well, and an Optimus. I had it in my office one time. I mean, the box was massive. It was beautiful. So I think it's on the adult male side that we have those really high end, fantastic. But we have some super cool ones. There's one that we did exclusively for fun.com again, and it was at Ursula, and it's so cool. And it's literally like the actual Ursula costume, but then the whole bottom is this inflatable tentacles. And so you can either wear it with the inflatable tentacles, or you can actually take that off and it's a costume underneath. I mean, those are the type of things that I love, and that's really what delivers on that higher end.
That's great. That's super. That's awesome. We'll have to check that out and see. That's really neat. So what were some of the best projects, or some of your favorite projects that you worked on throughout your career?
Oh my goodness, that's a good question. It's funny enough. I really enjoyed working. I worked on a Hannah Montana line at Disney, and it was like the Hannah Montana. I loved it. I mean, it was crazy just to see like, who is this? And then like all of a sudden, just like the next day, it's like packed concerts. We need the product now. Having to fly to Tampa to photograph her backstage because we didn't even have pictures of her to do a doll. Like that project for me was really, really fun. And it was so new at the time that it was sort of like, just go run with it, Tara, like get on a plane and go find her. That was a really fun one. And that actually was what brought me to Jakks. I mean, I got to know the Jakks team. It was Play Along at the time and CDI, but all part of the Jakks family. So that one was really fun. I mean, working on the big figs at Jakks was super fun when I met you.
Yeah.
That was cool. I mean, I've honestly probably touched every major, consumer name it. I'd probably be like, yep, I worked on this and that. I mean, it's amazing. And I love that. I love the connections with the different licensors. And I truly am friends with all of my contacts. I really, I love the way that works. But yeah, I think the big figs were pretty awesome because, we worked on, we had Batman, we had Star Wars, we had Power Rangers, we had Master Chief, we did Minions at one point. It was brands that we hadn't really worked on in other ways that we had access to. And honestly, Disguised has a ton too. And being able to, to work on each of those has been really cool. Like I said, I love to go into that world and see it and go, oh my God. I remember when I first started with Disguise and one of the girls that runs all the gaming licenses, she said, you're going to need to learn all the Pokemon characters. And I was like, no way I'm going to learn all the Pokemon characters. And, it's actually, my kids have brought a lot of this to me. All of a sudden, my son got into it. Like they talk about it. I mean, yesterday at dinner, they were like, okay, so name which Pokemon I'm talking about. And they're like
quizzed.
It's a fire type and it's red. And I'm like, I'm trying my best.
Charizard.
Very good.
My son knows the rap song. Okay. The old school like rap song. You need to memorize that one and then you'll know all the names.
I do. I mean, even when I worked on Ninja Turtles, I remember like reliving the original with my husband, who was a huge fan, and my kids. And then the song was different, and then we'd sing both songs in our house. But it is fun reliving it through my kids, or having a brand experience through them. I love that. I think it's really impactful, and or seeing something that they're into and then getting that. Guess what? Yeah, I got PJ Masks or whatever it might be. I mean, they were super.
You're forever the cool mom.
So
yeah, you're gonna be.
I hope so. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I gotta. But then like the Enderman inflatable was a little big, and he's like, I want this and this one now. I'm like, no. Like that's not how it works. So trying to keep them grounded too. You don't get everything that you ask for. You pick one. That's what you get. So yeah, but it is really. It's a different experience than it was prior to having kids. So I enjoy that.
It's really that multi-generational effect that, fandom can have, regardless of what it is. You could be whatever you're into, sharing that with another person or introducing them, into that experience is really thrilling for the person being, making the introduction. And then that's something that other person will always remember too. Like, oh, I got into it because so-and-so got me into it or introduced me or showed me something. And it makes our jobs really gratifying.
Yes, it sure does.
That's why we get up and go to work.
Makes them so happy,
It really does. I mean, it's not always easy, but because I think that's partly why I love doing these live streams, to show, not to commiserate, oh, these are so difficult to do, but to show this is the reality of how these, products or ideas come to life for those who are not familiar. And then, they get an insight, and I think everybody gets a better appreciation around it. And then for us, it just is able to share our own joy in actually doing the work. So I'm really grateful that you were able to spend this time with me talking about Halloween. It tells you the time goes really fast.
It does. No, I mean, it's great to connect with you. I think what you're doing is fantastic. And yeah, I wasn't even like fully aware. I had seen some of your postings, and now I'm like, this is awesome. I'm going to watch them all.
I love it. Well, tune in. So where can we find you or Disguise? I know we talked a little bit here and there, but tell us where to find the goods or follow along.
Sure. Yeah. Well, you can find our costumes at pretty much all mass retailers. So we're at Walmart and we're at Target. You'll find some stuff at Costco. We have stuff at Party City and Spirit, Fun.com, of course, Amazon. So like anywhere you go, you're going to be able to find Disguise. Okay, I'm going to read it out here. So our Twitter is at Disguise Inc. Our Facebook is at Disguise Halloween. And our Instagram is at disguise.costumes. So you can find all the good stuff that we're doing there.
Awesome. And if they want to find Tara Hefter, LinkedIn, right?
I know I'm not so great with social media unless it's involving business. I'm just, like I said, I float from one thing to another. It's hard for me to just go deep into one of those things.
You got a lot on your plate. You got a lot of things going on. But again, thank you for spending the time with us again this week and sharing your knowledge and sharing Halloween. And I hope people, if you've turned in for the first time, thank you for tuning in and spending your time with us. We really appreciate it. Hopefully everyone got some good COVID advice, how to have a safe Halloween, how to choose your costume this year, where to go. And maybe, if you haven't made your decision, look for a disguise costume near you. But again, if you've come with us before, thanks again for tuning in. This is Fangirl Friday Live. I'm Anita Castellar. Next week, we'll have another opportunity to share some fandom with you and hopefully some knowledge and have some fun. And thanks again, Tara, for joining us.
Thank you. This was fun.
Bye, everybody. Thanks.